What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dana White is willing to squash beef with Ariel Helwani? Dana White's beef with Ariel Helwani is no joke. Ever since Ariel broke the news of Brock Lesnar returning for the UFC 200 card, he's been banned from pretty much all UFC events. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. As Dana explained during a recent appearance on the Impulsive podcast, he'd be willing to bury the hatchet with Helwani.
Where the are they all now?
I think I heard Ariel Helwani say it once.
Dude, not this again.
So, but where are all these boxing guys 10 years ago?
I'm not trying to start. He said who?
We just got into the last thing with him.
How's he doing?
He's doing well.
Oh, good.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
He's upset. He's upset that the relationship is what it is with the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm upset about it too.
Maybe there's a
maybe we can figure this thing out, and we should probably all get back together.
This isn't the first time we've heard whispers of Dana and Ariel burying the hatchet. Last year, during an appearance on the MMA Hour before the switch to the Ariel Helwani show, Turki Al-Sheikh indicated that he wants to broker peace between the two sides. While there hadn't been any development since then, perhaps we'll see Dana and Ariel bury the hatchet before the next Zuffa boxing event. Backstage footage emerges of Diego Lopes and Jean Silva. After getting into a bit of an altercation after the Noche UFC headliner on Saturday, Diego Lopes and Jean Silva had a backstage conversation that was caught on camera. The video shows the two talking to one another while cornermen, UFC security, and even Hunter Campbell stand nearby, ready to jump in at a moment's notice. From the sounds of things, Lopes wasn't happy with Silva and his cornermen over the pre-fight trash talk. On the flip side, Silva seemed to want to squash any bad blood while congratulating Lopes on his victory. The video opens with Silva saying, "I wanted to congratulate you." In response, Lopes referenced the pre-fight comments from Silva in his corner. "No problem, but you guys talk too much." Silva then replies, "We'll each other there, not here, brother, congratulations. It's from the heart. I wasn't lying, I'm a real guy. I didn't come to glaze you. Real talk, you're gonna be a champion." Lopes then replies, "I know that, keep working. I would never say anything, but you guys talk too much." Following the latest loss for the Fighting Nerds, Kamaru Usman offered Silva and the rest of the Fighting Nerds some advice during the latest Pound for Pound episode, highlighting the one weakness of the team. They have an incredible team. I think they could add to that team, and that's probably someone to work on the wrestling. Having that wrestling background is something Caio Borralho could have utilized in getting those takedowns in that fight, which I think could have potentially helped him and blew that fight away. With Carlos Prates, the fight that he did lose to Ian Gary, of course Ian was really good at just moving away and then maybe drop down and get a takedown, control him. Then the Mauricio Hufi fight, Saint-Denis was just all over him. Once he got him down, he was able to punish him down there. So I do think these guys would definitely benefit from a wrestling coach. While Prates was able to bounce back from his first UFC loss, it'll be interesting to see if Silva, Borralho, and Hufi can do the same. UFC updates. As we head into an off weekend for the UFC, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with two new additions to the UFC 322 card in November. According to reports, two new middleweight bouts have been added to the card, with Roman Kopylov set to fight Gregory Rodriguez, and Bo Nickel set to fight Rodolfo Vieira. The Kopylov-Rodriguez fight will see Kopylov look to bounce back from a loss to Paulo Costa, while Rodriguez looks to build on a win over Jack Hermansson in June. In the Nickel-Vieira fight, Bo Nickel will be looking to bounce back from the first loss of his MMA career, while on the flip side, Rodolfo will be looking to build on a win over Tresean Gore back in August. While we don't have any other new fights to announce, Dana White shed some light on the upcoming UFC White House card during an appearance on the Impulsive show this week.
Dude, what's going on with that fight? We just had Aspinall on.
John Jones, since, retiring and then coming back, has made it clear, I want to do this, and he sent me a text apologizing and all that stuff, but I need people that I can seriously rely on for this one. People talk about Conor. I'm telling you, I've been in the trenches with Conor. Conor is a guy that has fought injured. Conor is a guy that a fighter has fallen out, and we slid in a stylistically bad matchup for him. He doesn't care. He literally will fight anybody.
But does he care enough to actually make a fight right now? Like, is he actually, when's the last time he fought? It's been,
he and I have been talking nonstop, and he's like, I'm serious. I want this. I'm training. I'm back in the pool. I'm doing all. So we'll see.
MMA community shocked with new ranking update. After making his UFC debut on the Imavov vs. Borralho card in Paris earlier this month, Ante Delia has now been bumped down to the number 10 spot on the UFC's heavyweight rankings. While that by itself may not seem odd, as John Morgan pointed out, Delia is now one spot below Marcin Tybura, whom he beat in his UFC debut. head-scratching change at heavyweight in the latest ranking update, as 1 week after his UFC debut, Ante Delija drops 1 spot to number 10, sliding below the man he beat, Marcin Tybura. The MMA community was quick to weigh in, with plenty of fans taking aim at the rankings. Today marks the official day the public stopped caring about rankings. Another fan wrote, "How does that make any sense?" One fan added, "Tuivasa at 11 is genuinely hilarious." Another fan called for more transparency. "Would love the names of those media members who do the rankings. Who the ranks Delija below Tybura?" Another fight fan added, "Whoever makes these rankings are dumb. It's got to the point where it's worse than the judging now. At Ante's age and performance, they should streamline him. Such an exciting style." One fan replied, "Shocking stuff where knocking a guy out in both of your guys' last fights actually still puts you below them." As one fan pointed out, the heavyweight rankings are all kinds of wonky. Oh yeah, say fun fact. 8 of the top 15 are coming off a loss, and most of these losses didn't affect their rankings. Mental. If Delija is able to get the job done against Waldo Cortez Acosta in November, look for him to fly up the heavyweight rankings. Joe Rogan bothered by Francis Ngannou UFC career. On a recent episode of JRE, Rogan explained that he's still bothered by the way that Francis Ngannou's UFC career ended, calling him the scariest heavyweight of all time. Here's the clip.
Francis Ngannou, when he was the heavyweight champion, he used to have a cut weight. He had to lose weight to get down to 265.
Wow. And then how much is he putting on that last week?
He's probably putting another 10 on, at least. Yeah. He's not losing a ton, but he's got to watch his calorie output. He's a massive human.
Hey, I met him in Saudi Arabia.
Fucking guy's so big. He's so big. That's a real tragedy that him and the UFC couldn't figure it out. That bothers me a lot, because that guy was the scariest heavyweight champion of all time, for sure. He put guys in orbit. He would hit them and you just go, oh. It would hurt you, like watching it. You're like, oh no. All men are not created equal. That's another problem with fighting. No matter how much preparation you have, no matter how intelligent you are, some people are faster and hit harder than you.
Right.
And you ain't gonna fix that in the gym. You'll get a little better, but you're never gonna bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Rafael Fiziev says Justin Gaethje deserves title shot. Although Ilia Topuria took little to no significant damage against Charles Oliveira, there's been no news on when the champion will defend his title. The way Rafael Fiziev sees things, however, Justin Gaethje deserves the next crack at the belt. During a recent appearance on the Overdogs podcast, Fiziev weighed in on the logjam of contenders at 155, explaining that he thinks Arman Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje should get the next crack at the title.
Yeah, Justin. Yeah, I think he deserves that. He deserves that. But we also have Arman, who number one also, and we have rankings. And who number one, he have to fight for the belt also. Like so, Arman also deserves that. And but it's hard to say Justin not deserve that. You know, just I don't know who's a pick could pick the champion, who he want to fight also. Like maybe, but yeah. But I think this both guys deserve the title shot.
In the case of Tsarukyan, Dana White said that weighing in as the backup fighter for the Oliveira-Topuria fight was a step in the right direction after his last-minute UFC 311 withdrawal. In the case of Gaethje, Dana didn't seem too happy with the title shot or retirement ultimatum coming out of Team Gaethje before the fight. While there's no telling which fighter will get the next crack at the title, hopefully we do get some news ASAP. Matt Brown not happy with UFC-style promoting in boxing. The Canelo vs. Crawford event over the weekend was a monumental debut for Dana White's Zuffa Boxing. But as fans know, a lot of Dana's success in the world of boxing may hinge on legislation that would rewrite the Ali Act, opening up the door for what Dana hopes will be a UFC-style takeover of boxing. The way UFC veteran Matt Brown sees things, however, the Ali Act is the only thing protecting boxers from the sort of monopoly Dana has created with the UFC. During the latest episode of The Fighter vs. the Writer, Brown explained that the UFC's model may work for the promotion, but it doesn't work for fighters. The big issue is what they've done with the UFC is they've monopolized the sport. This is why you see guys, we'll say a couple of weeks ago when Carlos Prates was begging for his friend to get a shot in the UFC. You see guys like me, I'm guilty of it. Like, can I get that $50,000 bonus please? Please, master? That's not the way it's supposed to work. And the reason it doesn't work that way in boxing, you've never heard a single boxer in my lifetime beg the promoter for anything because of the thing called the Ali Act, which the UFC is trying to revise, which actually means destroy. It's not going to be a good thing. People think it's going to be a good thing, but when you have a single entity controlling rankings, controlling titles, that's not a good thing for boxing. As Brown pointed out, even Dana's "eat what you catchphrase should have an asterisk attached to it, because at the end of the day, even a global superstar like Conor McGregor is paid a small piece of the pie in comparison to what the UFC brings in. Gordon Ryan accuses UFC fighters of using steroids? Gordon Ryan has been extremely open about his use of steroids in the past, and now the renowned grappler is claiming that the UFC's top fighters also use roids. If you followed Ryan's career, you know that it wasn't long ago that he was ridiculously jacked and that he admitted to using steroids. Ryan used them because in most grappling competitions, there's no testing. Well, in a recent video Ryan posted, he argued that UFC fighters should be allowed to take steroids. That's because, according to Ryan, elite fighters are already using them.
When you have testing, especially in a sport like MMA, for example, where the lowest level guys aren't really paid that much money. So you have a guy who just gets to the UFC and he's making 10 and 10, right? Or 12 and 12. You know, 12,000 to show, 12,000 to win. 24,000 bucks. You have to go through a whole camp. You got to pay for all the expenses. You got to bring in training partners. You got to pay for your coaches. You got to fly the coaches out sometimes. There's a lot of expenses that go into this. So those guys, if there's steroid testing, those guys won't have the resources or the money to hire the doctors necessary to beat the test. So those guys are natural. The guys at the top who are making millions of dollars, those guys will always have or part of the big teams will always have the resources and money available to them to hire the doctors to help them beat the tests. And the whole purpose of steroid testing is so that you don't have natural athletes competing against unnatural athletes. But you get that anyways, because the guys at the bottom can't afford to or don't have the resources to beat the test, and the guys at the top do have the resources. So then you just end up with guys who are naturally competing against guys who are juiced up anyways.
Of course, it's highly unlikely we'll see the UFC or any athletic commission sign off on letting fighters use steroids anytime soon. After all, using them is banned in pretty much every major sport, including baseball, a sport where the primary purpose is to hit a ball, not someone's face. Michael Chandler gets called out. Alexander Hernandez called out Michael Chandler immediately after he put away Diego Ferreira at Noche UFC, and backstage, the lightweight outlined why he thinks the fight will happen. Hernandez dropped the veteran fighter in round 2 and finished the deal with follow-up punches. The victory extended Hernandez's winning streak to 4, which he put together after dropping back-to-back fights to Bill Aljo and Damon Jackson. Well, while speaking to Full Send MMA backstage after the fight, Hernandez had this to say about calling for a bout with Chandler. I think it's a juicy fight. I think he'll bite on it. I love it. It's an exciting fight for the fans. It's a sick fight. It's a good time for it to happen too. I think he's got it, exactly what it is. We've both been in this game long enough. I don't need to sell something sweet. It'll be interesting to see if the fight actually happens. On paper, there's a lot to like, but Hernandez is not ranked in the top 15 right now, while Chandler is ranked number 12. Further, when you consider Chandler is now 39, a fight with Hernandez may not be the type of fight he's looking for, as one would think that Chandler doesn't have too many fights left on his dance card. So Chandler may want to face another big-name fighter who's also nearing the end of his career. All that aside, a fired-up Hernandez also had this to say about Ferreira and the lack of respect he believes the veteran gave him. Here's the bottom line: he was too nonchalant and he had no respect for me. He better respect me now. He had no respect. Looking at him and Jackson in the back looked like two guys working from home or something. They were laid back, chilling. I was watching. I don't know if he didn't care. He just had no respect for me. I saw it in his demeanor. We did the face-off and I could see it in his eyes and his cheeky smirk. Diego was the old vet, but he had no fear. Whether you miss high or you miss low, you're still missing. And you can't come in here and underestimate me like that. I knew it was going to cost him. The loss could be a costly one for Ferreira for sure. The 40-year-old has now lost 5 of his last 7 fights. Breaking: BJ Penn arrested for violating order. BJ has been arrested in Hawaii after he violated the restraining order that his mom had placed on him. If you don't know, his mom filed for no contact and to stay at least 100 yards away from her residence at all times for 6 months, which is still valid until May 26, 2026. According to police this time, BJ went back on her property, and that forced them to later arrest him without an incident. The statement reads, "At 4:03 p.m. on Monday, September 15, 2025, Hilo patrol officers responded to a report of a violation in the area of Pueo Street in Hilo. Upon arrival, officers determined that Penn had entered a property in violation of the terms of a court order for protection, in which he is the respondent. Penn was later located in the area and arrested without incident. On Tuesday, September 16, he was charged with violating the order for protection. His bail was set at $2,000, which he later posted. As of now, BJ Penn has been released from jail on bail. This marks the 5th time that he's been arrested this year.